Greetings to you all. This is the Assume Sinai Wellness Podcast. This is Sister Amachi. Just want to say a few words about this specific day, Thanksgiving. So I have very conflicted feelings about this day. The clip I'm going to add to this will explain the origins of Thanksgiving. And, my conflict is always with truth. It's never a conflict with truth. I accept truth. It's always the social pressure of, connecting with family. And a lot of people have a lot of different reasons why they come together on this day. But I do want you all to have some sort of consciousness toward the reasons behind this holiday. And to be honest, I would say all of the holidays you need to do research on and the reasons why you celebrate these dates. Most holidays in this particular country, I'm talking about the United States, is based on some sort of unfortunate event or some sort of made up situation. It's not necessarily based in fact. Some of it is has taken on new meanings over the time, but at the same time, the origins of the holiday was based on someone's massacre or someone's pain, we really need to reevaluate us participating in this. And that's one thing. The second part of that, in terms of the gluttony and the all of the things that, I've over the years, I'm not new to this mindset. So in terms of the study, the things I've done, it's a book by Dr. Barshango, and he talks about, it's about the origins of European holidays. I have the book, I just can't remember the title. He has many volumes. I would suggest you get those books and get the true understanding of the holidays that Africans in America celebrate. Natives, a lot of us have native blood. I know I do on both sides of my family. And that native blood that runs through, that indigenous blood that runs through my body and in my ancestry is really, for me, is really starting to show up a lot stronger over the years, a few years. It's been showing up anyway. It was always there. But I have people I literally can point to in my family that I know had native blood. Okay. So with that being said, we have a responsibility as indigenous people who also may have African blood to be very clear on what we're celebrating. We cannot continue. This is this new age we're moving into, right? We can't continue to ignore the atrocities of what happened here on this land. This land was first called Turtle Island, okay? The United States name was a name that the colonizers gave it, okay? It is a corporation. It was not the original name of this land. This is an occupied land. These are not the rightful owners of this land. They are owning the land, but they do not belong to this land. So anyone who's listening to this and they don't like what I'm saying, I don't care, because at the end of the day, it's truth. Do your research, get out of your feelings about it, right? And we're not even going to go into this whole $5 Indian thing, right? Of people who literally bought their way into the rights of the indigenous lands and rights of the lands. They were not even Indian. They were not, and it's not even Indian. That's not even the original name. Columbus said that he thought he was in India. Okay. But we're going to go way back. Even before that, the people were copper colored people and they had nappy hair. Okay. They don't have, we're going to squash that too. So a lot of this is coming forth, and this is not to take away your, celebrations, right? But we don't want our children growing up not knowing this knowledge. We have to give them, it's our responsibility to teach them the truth. If we don't do it, who will, right? We have to do that. So I mourn today because I think of my native blood who year after year had to endure people celebrating this day. And in some respects had to, especially if you have, African blood, everybody, we come together, we break bread. That's what we do. It's a family thing. I get it. I'm all about that. But they also had to, endure that and not say anything, because a lot of our African American / Native American family back in the day, they never really talked about that part of them. And so they just said, we black, we're black. We are Indian. They never said Indian. We're black, we're Negro, we're colored. So they never acknowledged the native blood. So as Maya said, when you know better, you do better. And so I just want to send that out. And also in terms of the waste, I'm not going to say I'm a vegan, but I don't participate in certain types of foods anymore. And that's been probably 20 plus years. So I went back and forth. I went through a period where I went back to eating meat, and I realized it wasn't for me because after 3 days of eating meat, I would get sick. I couldn't handle seeing a carcass. That was just me. So some of the things that we're choosing to eat and things like that, we just really need to reevaluate that, because it's not just about being gluttonous and eating everything. We have a lot of health issues in our community as well. And in terms of compassion for life, right? I'm not saying that all the natives ate a certain way or whatever. I'm just saying the capitalism behind the food. Okay, so 46 million turkeys are slaughtered for this holiday. I mean, imagine, right? It's commercialism. If you're not going to go out there and do your own slaughtering, we need to reevaluate all these things that we're doing and eating. The consciousness. This is up to us. A lot of us ain't willing to do that, but we always want to put some meat on our plate. So how about we look at the food differently too, in terms of what we eat, how we spend our day. Today I have some greens. I'm going to cook the greens because I need some nourishment. But I'm also going to burn some sage. I'm going to burn some sweetgrass. Okay. I'm going to feed the earth. And I'm going to pray to the natives who were slaughtered. Okay. Pray for their spirits and their souls. And these are the things that we need to start incorporating in these celebrations, not being gluttonous and eating, sitting back with our hands in our pants, looking at a football game. It's not, I understand, but it's getting old. It's getting old, y'all. We got to do better. We can do better. We can do better. Okay. You don't have to do this year after year. The children need to learn more. They also need to learn this next holiday coming up. We have to do something different. And I know this does sound harsh. I'm not trying to be harsh. I was very revolutionary at one point about this, right? Y'all wouldn't be able to handle me a couple years. I want to say a couple years ago. It was over a decade or so ago. But I've attempted to soften my tone on these things, but I cannot stay silent because it's not. I would be not being authentic if I was being silent, because the majority of people are still participating in this. And the colonizers are right here on this land. They don't even know the history themselves. They come from that. They wouldn't even be here if those colonizers didn't come here and slaughter. Okay? They had no rights here. They took it. They gave these people all kinds of smallpox and blankets and murdered their family members. Come on. So how can we celebrate something like this? We need to connect to the land, and we need to we need to get them to get on the righteous path and they need to ask for repentance from their ancestors, and also this continuous disrespect of the land. This is not your land to be digging. This is not your land to be taking resources and all the things that they're doing to the crops and to the animals and all the buffalo they killed. Okay, so when are we gonna, we gotta do better. So the next clip I'm gonna add to this explains it a lot better than me. So, aho. This is to my native blood on both sides of my family. I honor you, the indigenous, aboriginal blood lines is in my mind, in my body, in my spirit, and I won't forget it. I honor my benevolent, native, aboriginal ancestors on my maternal and paternal sides of my family. Aho. Ashe. Amen. And I will also say, look, there is historical information up there about the connection with North America and the Pangea, and even before that, we have some other in terms of the land, the breaks of the land and things like that. But they started building the pyramids. They started building pyramids over here, the Merkut over here, and also in Kemet. If you see, they use the eagle is native to this land, but that's a whole nother conversation. But in terms of ancient Kemet, it's a connection with ancient Kemet because I know I'm connected to that land. I'm connected to that part of the land. Ancient Kemet and North America has a connection as well as Mexico. So I just wanted to just put this out there. I feel a lot better. I'm not going to browbeat my family members this year. So I decided to do it this way this year. All right. Peace and love. Aho. Eo, owa, owa. Eo, owa, owa. I had to put that in there too at the end. But also, if I can find the clip, I will put on a small clip of this sister talking about Christopher Colombo. That's his name. He wrote his own interactions with the natives, and he could not believe how giving they were, how accommodating they were, that they actually were good people. He came from trash. Okay? He was trash. So he could not believe that there were people walking on the planet who had good character. Can you believe that? It makes me want to cry. That these people were so horrible that he wrote down how he could not believe that there were beautiful people on the planet who were giving, who taught them how to fish and eat and buy and get and grow. And he came back and slaughtered and did all the things to the natives on this land. We owe our people a huge debt. And even the crap with this U.S. government who says, oh, they only acknowledge particular tribes. There are other tribes that are not even acknowledged by them. So we don't need them to acknowledge us. We've taken it back ourselves. So, Eo, owa, owa. Okay. Peace and love, y'all. And I'm going to add that clip on. If I can find it. If not, I do have one. I know where it is. Ashe. It's a book by Dr. Barshango.
If you want to talk about how Thanksgiving came about.
I do want to talk about it. First of all, you got to remember, my dear brother, that's history, his story. It's not our story. When they proclaimed Thanksgiving, it was in Mystic, Connecticut, a tribe of Indian people, the Pequots, that were thriving and surviving. But shortly after, we taught these white people how to farm and how to take care of the land and raise food. They got beside themselves. A few years after they started prospering, they decided that they were going to take their women and their children out to a big field and have a cookout celebration. No Indians brought deer. There was never a Thanksgiving dinner with them, according to what they say. Not true. The celebration of Thanksgiving was the men walked off from their families and went further north into Mystic, Connecticut, and he murdered these Pequot Indian children, elders, women, and men. Got them in the enclosure of their habitat. They had built forts, per se, but that was only for the protection of their people. And they trapped them in where they couldn't get out, and they set it on fire, and they burned them to death. Then they came back. They were so thankful that they had killed these Indians, but that was the first Thanksgiving, not what you read about in their books.
It wasn't until when President Lincoln decided, instead of having it every other day when they were going to different tribes, killing them, that he decided to make it once a year, a day of Thanksgiving once a year.
True. But let me tell you about President Lincoln. Because Indians, the Dakota, and Nakota Indians wouldn't give up. These are the people from Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, up in that area. They were fighting, and they captured in excess of 200 of them. And they wanted to hang them all. But Lincoln intervened, and he said, no, I don't want you to hang them all. Pick 38 of them. And that's how they came up with the Mankato 38. That was the largest mass hanging ever in this country.
If you want to talk about how Thanksgiving came